Repeat after me. We don't, please say it, okay? We don't create ephemera or junk journal pages, which are, and now a little louder and a little more aggressively, too freaking bulky, okay? Hi, this is Luise Heinzl. I need help. Please send help. If you follow me already, then you know what this is and what we want to do today, or perhaps you don't know it because I haven't said it. But this shall become my Raggedy Turtle Bloom junk journal. And as nearly always, when I make a journal, I have the following problem. I have pages here which are already very, very bulky, and I haven't even put my ephemera in my pockets, tuck spots, and so on. So what you can see here are just my signatures with empty spaces, you know, empty spots for cards and tags and, you know, for example, like this. I have made this without the ephemera in the pockets because that was easier for me when I went to my sewing machine. And for example, when I have sewn on these little accents here, it's obviously easier when, for example, a belly band like this is empty, because then you don't have to deal with ephemera which can fall out when you are at the sewing machine and so on. It's just easier to handle. But now I'm nearly freaking out because I have my pages, I have my cover. This we have made in the last video. You can find the video in the playlist linked below this video. And when I put this in here, it feels okay. And when I press here, I can see I have still a little bit space. This is not a rectangle yet. You know, if it was already completely full, then it would probably look like this. This is what I would love to have in the end. So I have a little bit of space, but when I put that to my table, I can also see that we probably will need a closure or something. That would also be okay. I'm not the closure type of junk journaler normally, but if I would need a closure, okay. But there is not a single piece of ephemera in here yet. And I want to show you how I want to try to solve this problem today before I sew the signatures into the cover, because I think that there are a lot of people out there who have the same problem. At least I'm hoping that, because then I wouldn't feel so alone. So what you can see here is just the Raggedy Turtle Bloom ephemera pack. I have done nothing else than printing this out and putting something to the back sides so that these tags and cards are not so plain on the back side. I have just used some rust water and coffee, and I've randomly thrown that on here so that you still have the chance to journal on here and write something down, but nothing else has happened on these pieces here yet. The same with the journaling cards, which come with the ephemera pack. There's nothing else than this here on the back. And now I want to see what happens when I take all of these pieces and put them in the pockets and the tuck spots and find a space for them, or a spot for them. How do you say that? Oh, I'm totally confused. I'm so sorry. I don't know if you can hear this noise. There, my landlord is in the, you know, directly downstairs under my craft room, and he's hammering, I don't know, against the wall or so. I'm so sorry. Hopefully that is not too terrible for you, and I'm just completely distracted by that. I'm so sorry. So what we have here are these things, and I want to put obviously some ribbons to the tags, so we need holes in here and some ribbon, which also makes it more bulky obviously, but I want to try to find some spots first so that I know where the places for all of these pieces are, and then I want to see how thick the journal is then, and then I can decide if I want to, or no, how I can go on if I really want to put a ribbon here, or perhaps I want to search for something very, very slim and decide that then, you know, when the stuff is in there. The same for the decoration, which could go to these pieces. It could happen that I make a journal where all of these pieces stay exactly like they are. And I think there's absolutely no problem with that, because we can use these things as they are, can't we? But obviously, when we have something like this, and especially at this stage, when you say, okay, I want to sew my signatures in, and then later on I have a journal, I want to play in the journal. And how can you play in a journal? You use this and make a collage or some things or so, yeah, and hang something like beads or so on here. I want to do that. So let's see if that is possible. And if you have missed the rest of this stuff here, then let me tell you that there's a playlist linked below this video where you can find all of the other videos. I think I already said that, which belong to this series. And there you can find, yeah, some process videos about the process, how I made this. I haven't filmed everything, but things where I thought that could be interesting for you. And perhaps you want to check that out. And if you want to perhaps first see the full journal, you know, in a bound condition, then check out my paper premiere. This is like a little time travel. If you are not new here, please excuse that I sound like a broken record, but I want to let the new people on this channel also know what's happening here at the moment. So we are on a little time travel, and that is because I have shown you the finished, or, yeah, well, I don't want to say the finished journal, because that is not really true. I have shown you a journal made with this in the paper premiere already. So that means this whole stuff here is in the other video already in the cover, and you can see how this new paper collection from my shop looks in a, yeah, like in a bound condition when it's really in a journal in the paper premiere. So perhaps you want to watch that first. I did that because many of you have said that that is a good idea. Because I thought it would be nice to see, yeah, like a full journal first, and then parts of, where's this bigger, parts of the process. And that's why I did it like that. So that is a pretty new concept here on my channel, where I yeah, do that in a little different order than you would normally expect it. So instead of showing you the loose papers, which are new in my shop, I show you a journal in that paper premiere, and then later on I show you parts of my process, how I made this. Yeah, I think when I see this, I think we need some other things for the pockets as well, and I wasn't sure about that before I started recording this, but I just can see that because I have, I guess, more pockets and tuck spots than I have pieces of ephemera here, but that is no problem. That is something I already had in mind when I did this. I love pockets, as you perhaps know. This is pretty long. Here we need something else. I need to find something else which I can then take out here, perhaps a bigger paper or so from my stash. This is a little bit too big because I think I made a little mistake when I put the, well, but we can solve that problem later. I think I made a little mistake when I glued this pocket here, because there's just so too much glue on the sides. That came, I think, because of this little flower here. But we can solve that problem easily later by just cutting the tag a little smaller. So let's perhaps put this in here. one of these here. And I'm really asking myself if there is somehow a rule or so, or if we can perhaps make a rule together about how to find out how much ephemera you can put into a journal, because it's always the same problem, isn't it? I mean, is it that for you as well? Hopefully. I mean, that's a little bit rude, but when I think about that, I'm really hoping that it's the same for you, because then I wouldn't feel so alone. Not all. Now I have, I think, all of the big tags already used. I have this little thing here, but originally I thought I want to have one of the bigger tags in there. But perhaps we can make something else for here as well. I mean, what I'm doing here shall only help me to decide how thick all of the things could be in the end. This is a tuck spot. I don't like this tag. I think I want to have something more neutral in here. So this shall only help me to find out how much I can put in here. And these things can obviously also be in another spot. So the where they are now is not like forever. Yeah, you can also say, okay, I put this in here, and then later on we take it out again and put it somewhere else. I just want to see how thick this whole stuff will get in the end. And obviously, if you want to have this paper collection, you can find links to my shop in the description box below this video. There's an ephemera pack available. Ephemera pack available. The junk journal pages and a kit. And the kit is nothing else than the pages plus the ephemera, so that you can choose what you want to have if you want to have it. And there's something special about this paper collection, because we have a soundtrack for this paper collection. And if you want to get that, I have good news, because it's included in the paper collection. So if you decide for one of these items, either the ephemera pack, the pages, or the kit, then you will automatically get the soundtrack Raggedy Turtle Bloom with your download. I'm nearly a little bit scared to close this now. Ooh. Oh, I'm surprised. Huh. It's not such a big... Oh my goodness. It is not such a big difference. Can you remember how it looked when I pressed it here in the beginning of the video? I mean, it's not such a big difference. And do you know what? And I was really, really hoping that that would happen. Do you know why I think that that is how it is? Because, and that is perhaps something which could add to something like a rule for this bulkiness problem. I have a ton of these layered flowers in the journal, which obviously are bulky and create a space between the pages. And I think, for example, on a page like this, where we have this flower here, and also these little snippets, I've just glued them to the edge of the page here. And now, you know, you've just seen that. I can tuck this behind here. I need to find the correct position. It's a little bit wonky, but that doesn't matter. But this flower here, for example, now makes a little distance between this page and this page. And that way, when I put this in, it doesn't add so much to the bulk, because when this is closed, this space between the pages is there anyway because of the flower, because this is the highest point of the page. And that is really cool. I have also added a lot of these little elements here around the pages. So nearly every page has little snippets and then these little flowers here. And then I have sewn around here pretty randomly, meaning not around the whole page, but mainly there where these elements are. And then, you know, for example, here around the corner until here, but here is no sewing, so that it looks, yeah, a little irregular and more interesting. But all of this stuff adds to the pages and to the bulkiness, obviously. And I think that is not so bad, because when we have that around the pages and especially here on the outside and we press here, then the thickness is already given here. And when we then, for example, glue something here, that shouldn't be such a problem because the bulkiness is already here on the edges. Okay, so that means I will now go to my stash and search for some other matching ephemera pieces, because you have seen we have some empty spots here still, and I will throw these in here and then we can go on with the decoration of the ephemera pieces. I want to ink some of these, I want to put some ribbon, eyelets and so on to them. So let's see what we can do. Give me a second to find some neutral ephemera in my stash. So here we go. I just went through my drawers and looked what I have, and not all of this is, you know, it's too much, yeah. But I also have some here where I don't know if the color will really fit, so I will find that out in a second. But I first wanted to show you this. This I made ages ago in a challenge with my dear friend Elise Klatschmohn. She has challenged me to make an endless tag. Do you know those endless cards where you can, you know, open the card and then you do that over and over again and it doesn't seem to end? And this is from that challenge, because you know, she said to me that I need to make a tag in this style, that it never ends, but I have never done that before. I can try to link the video down below for you. I'm thinking it's still existing so that you can have a good laugh about me. And this little thing was a side product from that challenge. And I'm just thinking, can I either include this here in the journal? I mean, it's pretty bulky as well. Or shall I think about something to include that in the cover? That could be cute as well. It looks a little bit lost here, but I just wanted to show you that I found that. And obviously that's a great idea, isn't it? To add some shells and, you know, seagrass or something like that. I'm so sorry, to the things. So let's decide about that later, this little thing here. And now I will see if these colors fit and where I still have empty spots. And then I will just throw the pieces in there and see if it's then still okay or if it's then too bulky. And if yes, I will then go and cry for a while. But let's see.
You sat alone where restless waves stamp secrets in the silent sand. Like a quiet turtle tucked inside a shell the world can't understand. Your eyes held the horizon, longing for a place to dream. All the hurt you pressed between pages, behind a gentle emerald sheen. I wandered down the shoreline, pockets full of gathered years. Like a quiet turtle, scared to let love tide drown all my tears. But when our shadows touched that dusk in golden trembling light, we peeked out from our hiding place. The whole sea paused that night. We are Raggedy Turtle Bloom. Ooh, shipwrecked souls that chase the sun. Slow with the weathered shells, but now we journey on and on. every page we stitch together, every shell we leave behind. In a world that rushes past us, I found your hand in mine. No storm will ever break apart the bond we made from ruins. We are Raggedy Turtle Bloom, wild and bright, a love in tune.
So now I'm even more scared. Oh my goodness, what happened here? Fascinating. It still works. It still works. I mean, yes, we would need a closure, but it still works. Okay, so then let the adventure begin. Let's take some really flat things. Let's take one of these sheets and let's then just color these. I have chosen some peacock feathers oxide ink. Okay. That was not really the plan, but okay. That's what it is. That was broken china. This is crackling campfire. And let's take a second one and add a little bit of wild honey. I think that color also fits really well. And oh, since I have some white here and brushed corduroy by coincidence laying here, let's do that as well so that we have some neutral ones as well. And since we have the wonderful soundtrack, why don't we take some music sheets to stamp here. This is called Music and Advert CMS 358 by Stampers Anonymous and Tim Holtz. I'm going to use some black archival ink. Put this on here. And then we have these cool things. Oh, that looks cool. Wonderful. And then I have chosen this here because it's pretty flat on the one hand and something I already have here and there in the journal, and it's peeking out here on the edges. So I think that makes sense to add it to the tags as well. Here, I'm thinking when this goes on here, I'm so sorry, in here like so, it would make sense to have the hole not here, but perhaps here. And we can also use these not only for adding something like this, but also to make a little decorative element. I really like that, to punch more than one hole. Use these little guys here, and then take a little bit of this fluff and put that either through all of the holes or only through one of them. But let's put some of these to the back as well. Then we have some decorative stuff here on the back as well already. And then let's take this and fill this through here. I really like this. I've searched for eyelash trim on Amazon and then this came up. So if you want to check that out, search for eyelash trim, and then hopefully you will also find something like this if you want this. Yeah. So here we have all of these. So let's do the same thing. First punch some holes, and then I will add the hole reinforcements also on both sides. I think I want to just add a little snippet in a matching color, but not matching this, but the rest of the colors in the journal. Perhaps a piece of this. This is from my vintage snippets printable. You can find that in my shop as well. Where is my blending tool? Here we go. This is Scotch Timber ink. I've worked on different tables here in my craft room the past few days, and that's why my things are not where they are supposed to be. And then I thought if I perhaps have a postage stamp which could work here, either also in a similar color to this or something completely different. Yeah, why not? Why not? So perhaps we can just put this here. This is just some white acrylic paint with a ton of water so that these splatters get really translucent when they are dry. Then let's go on with this. Shall we perhaps take a little piece of this as well? No. I think I want to do it differently. I have some page tabs here left over. Perhaps some die cuts or so. Either these leaves. Oh yeah. I have this. This was an accident. It's not a die cut. I have painted this by myself. And I didn't like it on the piece where I had it, but I thought let's save it for something else. I will take this and I will quickly take this off, and now I cut this straight here so that it can go to this edge. That makes that this is not peeking out too much. And on the other hand, I can then put this over here, sew through here, and then the leaves are attached there, and then we can glue this on later. No, we can't. I need to put this under here as well, otherwise it looks weird. Yeah, I will quickly sew this on. Here I'm back, and then I can just lift this and just put a little bit of glue to the back. Can we do something with this little thing as well? Yeah, let's put that here. That gives a little more dimension. Ah, come out. Let's just put this aside and iron Presley on top. Now I have this left over. We could take an eyelet and then just do it like this. Now this whole reinforcement is covered up. First I thought that's not a problem, but it really bothers me. Let's just take another one, because I think that looks nicer when there's something like this around the eyelet. And then we can just cut this off. And then we have this. Let's then also add some splatters here. I will also do that here and then dry everything. These translucent splatters really fascinate me. That it looks so cool. I will quickly ink the edges. And now I think this tag needs another spot because this is pretty thick. And I have this transparent pocket there, which is made from something from my trash can. It was just a packaging from a stamp set. And I've used that to make this pocket here in the signature. I've used multiple of these. You can even still see this, you know, this thing here, so that you can see that it was a packaging. And when I now take this and put that in here, it's probably too thick. Not too thick at all, not too thick for the pocket. Go in. Oh, go in there, okay? Please just go in there. What's happening here? Holy cow. Okay, now I have it. It's not too thick for the pocket because the pocket has enough space, but too thick for my taste, I think. Makes it somehow weird. But we could think about turning this into a belly band. Just do this like so. Yeah, and it's even nicer when this is only two pieces in here. I think in the last signature we had not so much yet. So let's see. Yeah, this feels pretty thin. This could definitely be an option. Oh, and this is even better. Oh, I like this even better because they are looking at each other now when I do it like so. And then we could turn this into a pocket instead of a belly band. Is this now senseless as well? Yes. Could we see that coming? No. Is that the end of the world? No. So let's do it like this. This is like made for this page. I really like how the stamp impression and this arrangement, the flower here and these little elements on the side and here on the bottom now come together. That's really cool. And then we could also perhaps think about a sentiment here. On the one hand, we have the lines from the lyrics of the Raggedy Turtle Bloom soundtrack. And on the other hand, we have some snippets of the lyrics, which make sense, hopefully, at least in my eyes, as single little snippets. Yeah, for example, now we journey on, the bond we made, all my tears in golden trembling light, and so on. And there are also, these are all from the lyrics. And on the other side, you have the full lines, like, for example, no storm will ever break apart the bond we made from ruins. It's just one example. I really like Wild and Bright. Ooh! Oh no. I made these with the white around so that you also have the possibility to cut it like this instead of cutting along this box here, because I thought it could be nice to have a frame around here like so, and then you don't have the need to cut it out and glue it to another paper. Yeah, so I could also have taken these and put them directly to each other. That would have saved some paper and some cutting time for you. But this way you have like 2 layers. I mean, it's fake, yeah. It's not really 2 layers, but it looks like 2 layers. And I think that is good, especially when you have these bulk problems. And I think I will stop this video here and make a second part with the ephemera pieces, because otherwise this would probably be way too long. So if you want to know what I will glue to this page, oh, what a cliffhanger. My goodness. If you want to know what I will glue to this page, I mean which quote, then stay tuned and watch the next video. See you then. Bye. I'm so mean.